Take it away.
Okay, alright, so the topic I chose to do is, the question is you're upgrading your to backcountry skiing, is it like worth your money compared to like skiing at a resort or, yeah, pretty much skiing at a resort, skiing at the park, anything like that, which is the most kind of basic type. First, I'll start off by saying like, what is resort skiing? How many of you guys have been skiing and like raise your hands if you've ever been skiing? So like a lot of people have been skiing. When anybody thinks of skiing, the first thought is at a resort, like in the pictures. You can see there's lodges, there's lifts, there's ski patrol boundaries to keep you away from like anything that could be hazardous. There's like ambulances close by, roads. You can always, if you get hungry, you can go take a rest or anything like that. And groomers, obviously. Then on the other side, backcountry skiing. So it's almost like the exact opposite of resort skiing. It's where you leave the resort. You don't have a lift. You have to hike yourself up to the top like this guy. And also with snowboarding, the board will split in half so that you can, and you put skins on the bottom so that you can slide up the mountain without slipping backwards. And then you get to do what this guy does, and you just get to find your own lines, find powder, and pretty much go wherever there is. And us as Utahns that are close to the Wasatches, there's many places to go backcountry skiing. And there's also no ski patrol, no groomers, no lodges, so you're out there, you, nature, and hopefully a buddy if you're smart. So let's start with like a couple reasons why not, why you should stay at the resort and stay skiing where there's ski patrol. First of all, backcountry is expensive. If you look at the pictures, this is the gear for just an average snowboarder, and then this is the gear that you need to be a successful backcountry split boarder. And this doesn't even include like his jacket and glove and everything. If you took the jackets and gloves away, he'd have like, if you put more, all the jackets and stuff in there, he'd have way more stuff. And not only is there more gear, but this stuff is not cheap. I don't know if you've ever been climbing. There's climbing gear that you need in case you ever get like, you have to climb over a hill or rappel down a cliff. And then like a beacon or a shovel. A beacon is like you wouldn't want to go to the backcountry without a beacon. It's like, it acts as a GPS and a tracker. So like if you were to ever get stuck in an avalanche or lost your buddy can find you with a GPS tracker. And then you just need like more warmer stuff, obviously, because you can't go to the lodge to warm up, and you need food. And this guy has a sleeping bag and stuff, so he's probably staying overnight, but it just depends on the person. And then that's not even including training. In order to go to the backcountry, you want to take training classes on avalanche danger and how to set up your trips. And then I just did this. The average split board setup costs upwards of $2,000 to $4,000 depending on like if you get it used or brand new. And it can even go more than that depending on like how good of gear you want. Next, the second most biggest point, probably the absolute biggest reason why people don't, is because of how dangerous it is. Like I said in what backcountry is, you're alone. Most of the time it's you and some buddies. There's no ski patrol, nothing. There's no markers to tell if there's a cliff ahead. It's just you. And then the biggest reason for the danger is obviously avalanches. Avalanches are, it's when like there's an old layer of snow that's been there for a while, wind crusts it over and makes it kind of icy, and then a new layer falls on the top, and that new layer doesn't have much friction keeping it connected to that layer below. And it can usually, it'll just slide, it'll cut off that top chunk and just start a slide and then build up snow as it goes, and it can get huge like this guy, and in worst cases can destroy houses or buildings or anything. If you look, this looks like a hurricane came through or anything. A lot of people underestimate the power of it. And even if they're not that big, if it's just a slide, it only takes like 3 feet of snow to bury you and you can't get out. So they're extremely dangerous. This is a video. This is arguably one of the best backcountry skier out there. His name is Travis Rice. He made a movie last year and this year. But he got stuck in an avalanche that actually almost killed him. And if you look closely, like he lasts a lot longer than
Alexa, drop in on
than most people would.
Yeah?
Mr. Feathers is in the kitchen.
just see it split right here. He tried to get away from it, but it just. If you look really closely, you can see him through there.
Is he okay?
Yeah. And then he falls. This was estimated to be like 100 feet or something like that, and gets pounded by pounds and pounds of snow. But luckily, he didn't sink under snow. The helicopter was able to find him immediately, but he couldn't move, and the production of the movie got prolonged by quite a bit. Like 20 minutes of the movie is just explaining his recovery process and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, there's still obviously the danger of avalanches when you're at the resort. Anytime you're close to snow, there's the danger. But because of ski patrol, they're usually able to keep it down to a very minimum. If there's ever avalanche danger, they'll close off the area or close the resort if it starts snowing too badly. And then reasons for backcountry, like why should you upgrade? Obviously it's dangerous and it's expensive, so what are the reasons why you should? First reason, probably the biggest reason for it, is the terrain, powder. Powder is freshly fallen snow. It's really soft, like you can see in these pictures, like it's really fluffy. If you talk to any skier out there, it's just absolutely amazing. It's like a feeling that you get, like in Justice's video, it's like you're floating. And at a resort, it's very hard to find powder. When it does snow a lot, even if you're the first one up there, maybe 1 in a million, you'll get the first run and be the first one on the snow with no other tracks. By the next run, there's already 30 riders that have come behind you, and the next run there's 40, and usually it's really hard to find. And besides the fact, if you get there first, sometimes they close it off for avalanche danger, and by the time it's open, it's usually like either crusty or you weren't the first one there. There's like limitless possibilities in the backcountry to find as much powder and like anything like pillows. There's terrain out there that you don't need, that doesn't need to be built by cats and tractors and anything. It's just big drops, powder, and everything like that. And that's probably the absolute biggest reason why people like to go to the backcountry, because it's up to you on what you want to find and discover. Second biggest reason, which kind of counteracts the danger side, is, I mean, it's 2018. There's a lot of technology that catches up with all the dangers. Like I talked about, this is a beacon. So the main factor of all the inventions is to not ever get stuck in an avalanche. Like this guy, he's testing the snow to see like where the layers are and how possible it is for the snow to break away and cause an avalanche. But if you ever do get stuck in one, there's beacons and there's probes, and if you go with a buddy, you usually can get out. There's a way better chance than there is when you don't have a buddy or you don't have anything. There's also ABS packs. They're packs with little bags in them and a CO2 cylinder, and you pull the ejection thing and it'll float this huge bag above you, and it's just, when the snow is going, the bag will keep you afloat, so even if you do get like hurt or broken bones or anything, at least you're at the top so your friends can get to you and help you out. There's also like this book, it's called Backcountry Skiing, and it's, I read a little bit of it online. It's pretty much just like a book to help you choose when the days are to go out. You usually don't want to go on a day when it's snowing, because the avalanche dangers are unpredictable. And it just gives you like routes to go, best way to do it, how many buddies to bring, what to bring. But yeah, it's a lot safer, and there's a lot less of a chance to make sure that you never get in an avy, and if you do, it's not dangerous. The last point is just that you get to be free. The biggest reason why people hate resorts is like tourists and groomers and tracked snow and everything like that. When you're out in the backcountry, you can just be alone, like I said, be free. Here's a video. This guy, it's by Backcountry Access. He just talks about why he loves
I've gone through the list, and I'm like,
backcountry.
No.
I mean, we all want to live a life of adventure.
Be able to just go anywhere in the mountains I want to go and get away from people, find fresh wine.
Wakeboarding is freedom.
Yeah.
And independence.
Sort of body and soul desires.
So in the video, he talks about just like freedom and everything. You get to escape, like for Utah, the pollution and everything of being in the city, and just explore, like get to hike in the winter wonderland that happens every time the snow starts to fall. Yeah, and also along with being free, it's a little healthier than skiing. Skiing itself is already really healthy, but in this case, you have to hike up. You have to work for your rewards, and it makes most of the split boarders that do go a lot are in very good shape. As you can see, this guy's going a pretty, you can't really see it, but it's a really steep slope. But yeah, it takes a lot of endurance to be able to do it. So a little recap, against backcountry, there's avalanches, no ski patrol, it's expensive, you need lots of gear, and it takes experience. Like if you're a beginner, obviously you wouldn't want to go straight into the backcountry because you have no experience. For backcountry, there's powder, unlimited possibilities, there's new technologies in order to keep you safe, the freedom of being alone and out in the wild, and obviously exercise. So what is the answer? I believe it depends mostly on the person. Like I said before, if you're a beginner, if you just started skiing, backcountry is not the way to go. You want to get first your basic skills of how to snowboard in powder or ski, or park rats, people that love being in the park, like Olympians and stuff that are more focused on tricks and staying on grounders and man-made jumps. There's no reason for them to go into backcountry. But on the other hand, for like thrill seekers that are tired of trying to search for powder constantly at the resorts, and are willing to put in the work to get to the top of the hill, the reward can be massive. For most skiers, by like population-wise, because most are beginners and park rats and stuff, being at a resort is probably the smartest idea. And if for location, a lot of people that ski aren't like us in Utah, where we have the Wasatch. Some of them are indoors, or some of them are just like on the East Coast, just barely even have enough mountain to make a resort. So most would fall into the not upgrading to backcountry because it's just not worth it. There's not enough snow and everything like that. So what would you choose? Personally, for me, I believe backcountry is completely worth it. I've been snowboarding for a long time, and I would be way willing to upgrade. Which is part of the reason why I chose this topic. I myself am going into backcountry, and I just wanted to research it and figure out some of the pros and cons. The combination of like power, freedom, natural features all over the place, it's just too much to think of. For me, I can't wait for the snow to come so I can try it out. I like fending for myself and hiking up and getting the reward. I feel like getting the reward makes it that much better. Like working for it, and most importantly, I love fresh shredding powder. Questions, and while the questions are going, this is a quiet video of just the new Travis Rice.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When we were going backcountry skiing, I guess I was under the assumption that it was still land owned by the resorts. Is there legality involved with like backcountry skiing? You're hiking on someone else's land? Is it public land? Is it resort land? It's just like not cultivated. Whose land are you on your backcountry?
Most of the time, it's like the government's, like the canyons and stuff. Like if you were to go to the Wasatch, obviously, if you go onto public property on accident, it's on you. If you break the law by skiing through someone's backyard, you can get in trouble. But most of the time, it's like in this. You can see the canyon below. It's usually like if you go up Big Cottonwood Canyon, you see those big glaciers and canyons, or like hiking trails like White Pine, or some of the big steep hiking trails that are out there get turned into backcountry. Obviously, there's no trail to follow, but most of the time it's like government's land.
Couple questions here.
Why can't you just remove yourself from the avalanche when it's done moving?
So most of the time, when it's done moving, you either stuck under it, you are either like broken bones, or sometimes there's such things known as tree wells. Trees have like a big base, so snow can't get inside, so the snow that is under it is really like thin and goes down really deep. So if you ever get pushed into a tree well, you can fall like 10 feet deep and then get covered by the avalanche, and it's almost impossible to get out unless somebody helps you.
Last question.
Derek.
I know you said you were thinking about upgrading to backcountry. Have you ever gone backcountry before?
No, I mean I've hiked like without a split board. Like I've just like gone off resort boundaries and hiked myself with like boots and my backpack, and it's been awesome. So no, I've only ever done resort and as much fun as I can find. Yep.